When Angela started teaching years ago, curriculum choices were pretty simple and straightforward. If a student was in first grade, the curriculum was geared towards a child of that age. If a first grader couldn't successfully complete the work, teachers made recommendations for extra support or even possible retention. In other words, the student needed to adjust to the curriculum. New approaches in Angela's school require her to select, develop, and use developmentally appropriate curriculum. Instead of the child adjusting to curriculum, this method fits the curriculum to the individual student's needs and level. Angela is a little worried about this method. How will she be able to choose curriculum for all her students? What criteria should she use? Luckily, her principal has provided her with several resources to help her out. Angela learns that developmentally appropriate curriculum should challenge students, but not overwhelm them. A curriculum that's at the right level is work a student can do with scaffolding and support from a teacher at the beginning, and eventually achieve mastery of independently. Angela knows from experience that although children learn and develop in predictable sequences and steps, they each make progress in their own unique way. To make solid choices about curriculum for her students, Angela needs to understand two things: the progress of learning development and the individual needs of students. In order for Angela to be successful at making curriculum choices for her students, she needs to have a solid understanding of the continuum of development for children in her class. For example, as a first grade teacher, she can expect her students to be within a specific range of reading and writing development, somewhere along a spectrum of the emergent level. At the same time, Angela needs to be a close observer of her students. By recognizing where her students are in development in relation to the expected continuum, Angela can provide extra support if necessary. As we saw, when choosing developmentally appropriate curriculum, Angela needs to be aware of typical learning developments and her students' ability within these areas. How can she choose teaching that fits both needs? She has a few choices. An important resource for teachers like Angela to use when choosing the right type of curriculum is to use data, or information gathered about a student's ability. For example, in reading, Angela meets with her students often throughout the week. She writes down observations, takes notes when they read, and administers informal assessments and screenings. She uses this data to plan curriculum for students based on their specific developmental needs. If Julia struggles with decoding, Angela knows this because she has collected information. She can plan lessons that will help Julia make progress with decoding. Angela can collect data on her students inside the classroom to determine her students' needs. Outside the classroom, she can keep up on current research and instructional practices. Lately, she's been reading about new brain science. She understands that in order for students to best understand concepts, they must be engaged and active in learning. Angela will use this information to plan developmentally appropriate lessons. Research shows her that to educate the whole child, curriculum should be active in learning. Finally, Angela can meet with other professionals to discuss developmentally appropriate curriculum and teaching practices. This collaboration is another resource teachers can use to keep up to date on curriculum development. When it comes time for Angela to make choices about developmentally appropriate curriculum, what are some guiding principles she can use? Angela should focus on finding a good balance that includes all standards and content goals for students at the age and level taught, practices that take the individual student into consideration, curriculum that's challenging and supportive of different types of learners, content that provides real-world experiences, an environment that's supportive and enriching, and opportunities for students to grow. When selecting developmentally appropriate curriculum, teachers like Angela can set the bar high by considering many areas. Finding curriculum that's aligned to content goals, using activities appropriate and challenging for individual students, and using different learning types creates success. She can also choose curriculum that has real-world connections, offering her students a chance to see that what they learn in school can be applied in other ways. She can make the classroom inviting and supportive for all students and make sure each has a chance to move to the next level. Angela can use several methods to make sure her students are being taught in developmentally appropriate ways. To build and use a developmentally appropriate curriculum, or one that takes the student's strengths and struggles into consideration, teachers need to balance the needs of students with learning expectations. They can use data, research, and collaboration to help guide their choices. When developing curriculum, they should consider offering real-world experiences that are challenging, allow students to grow, and are aligned to goals. That way, each student can succeed.